Economics is broken. Modern economic theory is based on a set of invalid inputs. Economics, it turns out, is not a science at all, but more theory based on a set of false assumptions, such as price is always equal to value, the market is efficient, and adding to the money supply creates inflation. These are three principles of modern economics that have proven false in the last decade as central banks have taken over the manipulation of the economy. Price is no longer determined by an open market. It is now exclusively determined by central bank demand. If the Fed is pumping liquidity into the system, the markets rise. If the Fed stops, the market drops. This is not efficient, this is distortion. Everything happening today has happened before in an eerily similar and foreboding way. Virtually identical signs indicate we have come full circle. Those that forget history are doomed to repeat. It sure appears we are making the exact same mistakes yet again. The coming mindset shift is inevitable. History has shown us that these mistakes are cyclical, unavoidable, and right on schedule. Our natural tendency is to make the same mistakes over and over again. Once we identify our own human limitations and our eyes are open to a better understanding, it will be impossible to return to our shadowed and misconstrued thinking. Modern economic theory, or Keynesian economics, is what the existing system has been built around. In the coming years, we will witness a collective mindset shift toward modern monetary theory. This new approach promises outrageous benefits from the action of going deeper and deeper into debt. Since permanently spiraling debt is now inevitable, we will be sold the idea that when debts are established in the same economies where the money is printed, there are no harmful side effects. This will allow governments to print away their obligations. It's not true, but it is what's coming as surely as it has come repeatedly in the past. So-called modern monetary theory is simply a tool to accomplish the same end the Federal Reserve has always intended. It will be labeled by the economists a good idea and sold as the necessary wave of the future. But modern monetary theory is no more science than modern economic theory. It's a phony science. We will be sold that it is in our best interest, but in reality it's nothing more than an excuse for the government to further devalue our money. If this is not obvious by now, it is only because we are too close to the mountain of debt and have lost all perspective. Mankind has an obstructed view of the world in which we live. Our perception limits our vision, causing us to construe reality and truth through a limited prism. Things that appear one way turn out to be something else entirely when viewed with a broader lens. Thousands of years ago, the philosopher Plato pondered this exact tendency and the question of perspective in his allegory of the cave. Plato tells the story of prisoners held captive in a cave since their birth. These prisoners are shackled and bound and are unable to see in any direction but in front of them. They stare their whole lives at a blank wall. Behind them is a fire. As their captors walk behind them, shadows on the wall rise and fall. This being the only reality that the prisoners know, they believe the shadows to be real. One day a prisoner breaks free and is stunned to find the actual world that exists outside of the cave. He finds that the sun is the source of truth and comes to realize that his former worldview was entirely wrong. Excited by his discovery, he returns to the cave to share the news with the other prisoners and to set them free. When the man returns, however, his fellow prisoners do not believe his story and threaten to kill him if he attempts to free them from their chains. Plato used the story to make a few key points. Once our eyes are open to the deficiency of our perspective and we are shown the world through proper viewpoint, it's impossible to return inside the cave. Once shown the light of the sun, the cave becomes an unlivable place. As the allegory also highlights, most people are afraid and do not want to be enlightened. In fact, when offered the truth, most people prefer their dark caves. They find comfort in their familiarity and cling to their shadowed worldview. And if you think this is a phenomenon limited to ancient civilizations, pick up your TV remote and spend a few minutes on each of the major cable news channels.